Wonderland's Chaos 50 viable build, Invisible Warden of Death. It's a Dark Magic Stabomancer Spore Warden build. Here we go. We're going to walk through a boss run here in the Chaos Chambers just to kind of give a little bit of a showing of what happens here. This build works with the Ruby Spite and working with Play the Angles and From the Shadows as well. We're going to go ahead and get a kill here to proc the Ruby Spite. And then just sit back and fire away. The way this build is set up here, it's for you get your best bonuses by having full health and staying away from everything. That's why the mushroom's kind of nice to have. Once I get the Ruby Spike going, I proc the From the Shadows, and boom, Taskmaster just falls down. It's like he wasn't even there. So, does this work with all bosses? Of course not. There are some that are going to need a little bit more than others. And this is just a simple Ruby Spite, so it's not like using the Sword Explosion or anything like that. Here we go with the Chance. And we're going to see here how we just kind of walk through him as well. This whole run here took me, I think it was 8 minutes, and I wasn't even really trying. I was just going through and making everything look like bullet sponges. Proc From the Shadows. The Play the Angles will actually send some of the shots off to bounce off so we can proc the Ruby Spite, and then it just starts melting away. And you see all those numbers there. It's a lot of dark magic damage. The idea behind this is to keep your health full, because I'm also running with a enchantment on my shield, which is to when you have full health you get 25% gun damage and 25% crit damage, which is extremely nice. We're going to speed up some of the footage here because I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing all this stuff. But again, same thing, proc Ruby Spite, kill everything, set off From the Shadows, and go to town. Remember, fire your spell a little bit as well. This is set up with both action skill and spell enchantments to boost damage. So you can actually play around with those a little bit. I did have a previous build that was set up with all action skill enchantments, but I like to balance it out some because, it's nice to be able to cast a spell too to boost yourself up. And we'll break it up here. And now, it's Drill. This is the one everybody seems to, hate. I just kind of come in here and shoot him in the face, and it just starts melting away. He hits me a little bit. It's not so bad. Again, this is sped up about 50% faster than normal, and we sit here and watch his phases, and once he comes over here, as long as we stay over here on this the south side of the map, I guess you can call it, looking at the compass, he can't hit you with those spears, which is nice. And I actually like to stay up here when he goes down, and then as he pops up, proc From the Shadows and just fire away. One of the little mermaids is going to pop up there, and you'll get your Ruby Spite proc. And just keep going. He's going to start dropping those little spears down. And don't even really worry about it. You're not going to take any damage, really. And just kind of keep shooting him. But he will put up another spear and kind of block you from shooting him, so you will have to get over and move. Again, once you get that proc, usually From the Shadows will be back up again, and you just melt them away. So I like to try to get the Ruby Spite to proc, because once you do that, that's 5 seconds of homing projectiles. And once you do that, if you can get From the Shadows to go, all you have to do is get your first kill. Because as you start firing with your homing projectiles, plus you get Play the Angles going on, you're really it's ridiculous amounts of damage, especially for mobbing. Mobbing is fantastic with this build. Just get that first kill, go into From the Shadows. Even if you don't want to waste From the Shadows, there's a couple times I tend to not worry about it so much. I can just cast my spell and I get some gun damage, and I believe damage dealt boosts from my enchantments. So even here, I'm just kind of sitting back. He can't hit me with any of those. The only thing he can hit me with there is his fire attack, and when he throws the mines there. But as he comes up here, I can just dodge his fire, wait for him. Again, this is not a very long battle, and I tend to make it a little bit easy with this build, at least. I know it's not easy with all builds. This one tends to work well for me. Alright, we don't really need to care about this garbage loot. Let's go to the next one. Alright, next we have... Oh, it's another mini-boss. Alright, cool. Well, while we're going through this mini-boss here, I just want to also go ahead and thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and check out my other videos as well. Like them if you like them. If you don't like them, comment and tell me why you don't like them. If you do like them, comment and tell me why you do like them. And if you want to see me do other things, let me know in the comment section. Subscribe as well. You can also check me out on Twitch, AceLion5 there. And you can also check me out on Twitter as Ace_Lion5 on Twitter as well. So now that we got all that taken care of, let's see who our final boss is. We'll go roguelite gambling here. Alright, Zomboss. Now I'm not too worried about roguelite. And let's go ahead and give Zomboss a final melt here, and we'll go over the gear so you guys can see exactly what we're working with. So, bring around the Zomboss. Let's see, kind of slowly melts away. Weird he's not falling off so much. Although I'm not getting his head really. But still, just slowly whittling down. There we go, get that proc. And we've almost all already. I don't know about you guys, but it was probably the most satisfying kill in the game for me is when I got to shoot Zomboss in the face in like the very beginning. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and move on here. No, we don't need that garbage. Alright, there we go. 8-minute 45-second run, 81 kills, 400,000 gold looted, 75 dark magic kills. Alright, you kind of see everything I'm working with there. And let's go ahead and just cut over to the build. We do have our Ruby Spite with the when action skill active, increase dark magic damage by 50%. We also have our Mage's Staff here, our melee, with action skill start, increase damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. Here's our Spirit Rune with while health is full, gain 25% gun damage and crit damage. Our Jacketed Arcane Bolt on spellcast, increase gun damage by 30% for 10 seconds. That's nice simply because you have the ability to cast it over and over again and just basically keep that going. We have our Barbalode with Spore Warden. It's only rolled with one, and a Dark Magic Efficiency, which helps. But attacks have a 22% chance to fire attached crossbolts to nearby enemies. Here's our Corrupted Plate Mail with a +3 in 1,000 cuts. That is really the key to this one. Plus the gun damage is nice. Plus this also helps double proc off of Play the Angles. We have our gun damage rings here. It's a ability critical hit damage and pistol critical hit damage. And then our Shark's Bane with Dark Magic Efficiency. So that's also nice to have as well. If we come over here to our skills, you can see that we have From the Shadows, which is a big one. Once we get our Ruby Spite proc, we go into From the Shadows, fire off a spell, and just start shooting at whatever we can see. Don't even have to shoot at it, just shoot close to it. So that is very nice to have. Next we have Potent Poisons, increased status effect damage and status effect duration by 20% and by 40% respectively. And we have Exploit Their Weaknesses. Whenever the Fate Maker applies a status effect to an enemy, the affected enemy takes increased damage from all sources or its duration. It's a 6% increase, but that's still kind of nice to have. Alright, then we move over to Swift Death, which is while moving, the Fate Maker gains increased damage dealt. The current effect is 10% at default walking speed, and so that's kind of nice that you actually get a damage bonus just for walking. We come down here. I have 1 point in critical hit damage, just so we can get that part of the formula there, the damage formula working. Nothing more than that, just so we can have 1 point extra there. And then we come over here to Contagion, which did get a nerf a little bit ago, but it didn't hurt it too bad, and I've had plenty of enemies drop from it, so we all know about that. And here's 1,000 cuts. As you can see, I have a current effect without any skills in it. I get 0.6% damage per stack on a maximum of 25 stacks, so that's from that class mod there, or my armor, I'm sorry, the Corrupted Plate Mail, +3 on that, so that's important to have. Now we come over here, and as you can see, I got Bounty of the Hunt, action skilled cooldown rate from a kill skill, so we can try to keep that From the Shadows going as much as possible. Now we're going to move over to Eagle Eye. As you can see, that's plus 20% gun damage and plus 25% gun handling, so that's always important to have. And I went with Eagle Eye instead of Arsenal, just because I wanted to use play the angles. I have 1 point in Bullseye, which is unnecessary. It's only because I have the in the Corrupted Plate Mail. I'd much rather have the extra point in 1,000 Cuts than Bullseye, but it is what it is. Here's Affinity. I maxed this out, so I have a 45% ability damage bonus. That works with Play the Angles. Quiver of Holding, increased magazine size and regenerating ammo. This is very nice to have when you have a limited magazine with your Ruby Spite. The nice thing that goes along with this, though, since it's only 3 points, is just next to it we have Medicinal Mushroom, and above that Spore Cloud. These are kind of nice because they taunt and keep the enemies away from you and pick you up when enemies do get too close to you. Also over here I have the Windrunner, which is the movement speed, kill skill, and fire rate as well. Fire rate is huge, plus you get the bonus from Swift Death with the movement speed, so it's very nice to have. Then we move down to Headhunter. Gun damage dealt to critical hit areas is increased by 25%. It's another great little bonus to have. And then we move over to Wrath of Nature. Whenever Fatemaker deals ability damage to an enemy, that affected enemy takes increased damage from all other sources. And then here's the big one, Play the Angles. Critical hits have a chance to ricochet, dealing ability damage to nearby enemies. And again, that's ability damage, which is why we boosted that up. And they ricochet, and that's gun critical hits. So you see where I'm getting at here? From the Shadows equals gun critical hits. Ruby Spite equals automatic firing at critical hit points. Now if we come over here, we have, as you can see, we maxed out the strength for crit damage. We also maxed out our entombment for skill cooldown, again to keep that From the Shadows going. And then we put all the rest of the points into status damage to kind of help with that dark magic, plus work with contagion as well. So it's pretty good to work with. It's gets the job done. The dark magic helps keep you alive. And you can work with the shield some. You can see the dark magic leech here. We got 8.7% per second. Now I have noticed that it doesn't seem to work all the time, and a part of me wonders if it's bugged, but I'm going to keep looking into that. With the Stabbo, we have a critical hit chance of 8.2%, and that's almost just basic because of a Stabomancer. The loot luck really doesn't make too much of a difference there, but 50,000 is kind of nice. And then as you can see here, 85% Spore Warden, 22.7% Stabomancer. To me, that's like 107.7% of all badass Fatemaker. 22% duration for From the Shadows there with the Stabomancer. And then, of course, on Play the Angles, our Spore Warden is getting a plus 85% damage as well. And that concludes it, guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. I definitely appreciate it. Like and subscribe again. Thank you for watching. Check me out on Twitch and Twitter, AceLion5, Ace_Lion5.